Oh, I wanted to get the recording beeping.
Have liftoff. Acceleration has begun. N2O pool has onboarded Quasar. Let's go, guys. Let's go.
Uh, uh,
Yes.
and maybe give me a bit of what have you done in the past weeks? Because it's the first time that I hear of driving catalyst. I know Quasar has been had this hard fork cafe idea, and then he also had this this Cardano catalyst fair idea, and something like the really crazy and novel things that resonated well with me. Is this also kind of where you're taking it, or what can we expect? What is your vision, or
we're taking it to the
what are
limit.
some examples? Yeah, nice.
Welcome.
Yeah, we want to capture all the things that everyone's doing. Like Quasar's working on hard fork. We have things happening in the development of challenge teams, and Chris is on the DApps and integrations challenge team, and I've seen how he's been as a community member. I've seen how he's been spearheading that with the other two guys, Miroslav and Andre, and I like how they're running challenge teams. So they're running their challenge teams and assessing what's going on in those challenges and whatnot. And that is something that really needs to be grown in Project Catalyst, I feel like. So we're trying to capture those active pieces and drive Catalyst with them. Like I loved what your list, Rick, of people. Like I want to see more people with that have taken time to assess proposals that aren't necessarily in challenge teams, just our voters, especially people who have a lot of ADA and want to and are voting. Well, let's start discussion around, okay, let's start. It's like Dor said, good citizenship, and I just want to see more of that. So I'm trying to highlight these different things around here with driving catalyst. Yeah.
Rick, thanks for driving Catalyst. Thank you for joining. I've been following for quite some time, but in the shadows, as you know, it's sometimes better to be there. Rick, what does driving Catalyst mean to you?
Is keeping it on track for what the greatest needs are and demand. That's why I saw the name of this room and I was like, well, that's probably one I should go check out. And I think it's setting priorities is important, and helping people figure out priorities based on where a system is at the time, because the world's a changing place and Cardano's still young and small, and I noticed there was just a very broad and diffuse array of selections, and funding was getting spread really thin. And I was like, wow, this thing is having a hard time bootstrapping, but the funding is kind of stretched, right? Even though it's gone up a little bit. And so I just figured I had a lot of people ask me anyway, like I was saying in the main talk there. A lot of people ask me, "Hey, what should I vote for? What should I vote for?" And it's hard to answer each individual person. So I figured I would
Yeah,
just
it's a
go
bit
ahead and
like
make a list. So
I hope people didn't miss all your good points you had in there by focusing on what you were downvoting, because I think you made so many wonderful points in that. The fact that what you were downvoting was only on the fact that certain pieces are not ready yet
yeah,
to be built. So we need to focus. It's like having a variable timing or controlled inputs of these on the engine. The engine knows what it needs, but if you can't make that adjustment at the time and give the funding exactly where it needs to go, like if this isn't started yet, why would we start this? And I really liked how you walked people through that, and you did it. You really did it. So that's a good prime example there. Thanks.
Yeah, there's another example that we're currently facing. Like currently today, when funding starts tomorrow, if you were to take three options, If you wanted to vote for Block Frost, UTXO Management, and Ledger Live, all three are extremely important. One of them will fail. And people don't like addressing that. They don't like to like knuckle up and say, all right, I got to make a tough decision here. People like to make decisions to make themselves feel good, but they don't like to make tough decisions. One of those three will not get funded. All three of those are extremely important. And the fact that there's only $200,000 to fund those three items is where we need to bring things back in alignment. We need to bring things into alignment, because I saw it last time with CC Vault. It was not poorly written. It was simply, they didn't ask for much money. Technically, it won the vote, but it fell below the line. And I'm like, well, how do we fix this? It's a good proposal. Everyone knows it's a good idea. It actually works. The risk is low. Most people don't know how to do risk assessment on technical proposals. The risk is low. Why aren't people voting for this? Because it was lost in the weeds. That's the answer. It did get voted for. Technically, it won. But $30,000 was too much to ask. That's a problem. And
Yeah,
so
and that's peanuts. That's peanuts.
And last week I did the post about those three options. I'm facing a dilemma. I'm like, wait a second. I can't vote for all three of these because there's only 200,000 out of 8 million allocated to those three items. And if I step back and say, what does Cardano actually need to function correctly? Those three items. One of them's going to lose. That's a problem to me. That's just my opinion. So that's why I posted a list. I hope people don't get mad. I mean, I'm looking at them going, everything that's on the right-hand side of the list, you can do it on the left-hand side on the upvote. Everything I put in
No,
downvote
you're absolutely right.
My upvote list is more inclusive.
Absolutely right, Rick. I hear where you're coming from, and this is important that we have the infrastructure there. However, we shouldn't forget that Catalyst is not the only place where stuff get built. Many amazing projects are being built outside of Catalyst without Catalyst funding. So it's not that these projects are completely dependent upon Catalyst, A, and B, they could have also invested time into communicating with each other and saying, hey, listen, there's only this much in the pot. Maybe we only write 2 proposals, or we do something with the budget so that everyone can get funded, or so on and so forth, you know. I mean, there's always a solution when you communicate clearly and together with the person that you're actually having the quote unquote issue with. Right, Fraser?
Yeah, I want to follow up with that. You know, how do we drive collaboration and communication in Catalyst? That's something that I've been working on for a long, long time. And the moment it feels like there's a team and people working together, then, you know, proposal registration opens and everybody goes batshit crazy and starts, you know, goes off on their own. But yeah, I mean, people that are putting proposals in one challenge, if they're asking for a lot, they should be talking to one another and see if they're competing, then they can compete and they can win or they can lose. But there's a lot of people here that are trying to collaborate or working towards that just, man, that's a struggle all on its own.
We have to be realistic that that's just not enough money to fund a lot of these really, really amazing integrations. And maybe there needs to be another funding mechanism that the community has access to really catapult these into funding without waiting months for deliberation. When we know something is important to the ecosystem, we should be able to allocate and take votes and say, let's fund this right now, or at least pay someone for their past work. And those are some of the things we're trying to work on with the treasury management proposal. So I'm hoping it gets funded either way. It doesn't really matter if it does, because that's the direction we're going to keep going. And it's an open, you know, test. So we're going to just keep on moving with these tests and hoping everybody just keeps participating. This new voting is going to be super interesting. We go into self-funding mechanisms, and that's definitely a place that we're heading towards, because Catalyst is not rapid enough versus somebody who can go out and sell a couple NFTs and make $1 million. So Catalyst is broken. If these really amazing integrations and companies aren't getting funding, well, they're going to go out on their own and just get it and not need Catalyst, which is exactly what we're seeing here. And it shouldn't be a battle. The Catalyst has a lot of funding, but it needs to be addressed and allocated appropriately. And we see that the voting by the community has not been like effective enough or rapid enough.
Yeah, and there's I didn't want to talk too much on this, but I think getting the funding in the hands of competent people who can deliver, right? Competent teams that can deliver is critically important. And another reason I got something else that kind of got me to get in here and say, hey, what's going on is there's a metrics, like the open source software is the most important. There are a lot of bootstrap programs out there where in Launchpad platforms where projects can get funding to go on a Launchpad. But when they do that, they don't have to open source it. As a matter of fact, they usually don't. They don't open source it because they don't have to. So it helps reinforce that system that they're launchpadding on, but it doesn't help reinforce Cardano as a whole. It's a nice little add-on, but it doesn't build the core infrastructure, which is what I think in a couple funding rounds, the core infrastructure should be pretty good and it won't have to go on forever. And then people can pivot to educating and different communities and stuff like that. But for now, I'm just going to kind of focus on the core infrastructure. Like there's the sustainable development goals are competing with open source to write open source for sustainable development goals. And I'm thinking, wait a second, you got to have something to build on before you can take metrics on it. Why is it competing in the same category for very limited money? And, that should be like over in the miscellaneous category so you can do metrics on the people who are building the tools. It just didn't make sense. So
this is why I've been preaching challenge team development for a while, because like you're saying, if we are developing these challenge teams over the next 2 or 3 funds, then we create a backlog of teams that now can create of past challenge teams that now can use the Project Catalyst maybe as a incubator funding mechanism and be able to spin off new like smaller circles essentially inside that can then delegate funding much more quickly. And I think we're just kind of in progression to get there.
What I found running the challenge team is that every individual group and project that I reached out to and talked to, they were going down that road of open source, self-funding. And if they weren't, they were not open sourcing just to stay competitive. But that wasn't helping us build the base layer at all. And here I am, like, I'm still struggling because I need this and they're going to deliver this, but there's no middle ground for anybody in the middle. And I wasn't trying to make a middleman, but we need this to not become a middleman. So that's where I'm struggling. And that's why I liked Rick's assessments of these proposals. Like, we need to get to the base levels and get it built before these other things get built. And it's not really helping in my examples here. But Jay Crypto, welcome. What are your thoughts on driving Catalyst?
Yeah, man. Thanks, Chris. So I came in this one kind of to observe. This is my first time in a driving Catalyst breakout room. I'm not sure if you've had them in the past, but I jumped in here after listening in on another breakout room because I was like, you know what? That's kind of where I want it to be. I think Catalyst itself has a lot to offer. So yeah, man, driving it. I don't know. I feel like I probably wanted to listen a little more before I talked, but whatever problem Catalyst is facing right now, I think that there's a lot more potential than the problems that we're facing. And I think it's a matter of time with all the amazing people working in Catalyst to solve those problems. So I have a longer term view on it. I just think that when people realize you can go to Catalyst and as the funds get bigger too, is something I've been talking about on my YouTube channel. I think we're going to see some amazing things get funded. I guess since I just kind of hopped in, maybe to brush up on some of the challenges that they're facing and that are impeding the driving would be interesting just to hear your guys' perspectives too on. Maybe I have some insights to throw after that, but sorry to come in halfway here.
No, you're good. I will point you to the document in the chat. Driving Catalyst is about accelerating collaboration and driving attention to community infrastructure needs. That's the driving, that's what we're driving towards out here. And so whatever anybody has to bring toward that effort, love to see it. Love to see
Yeah, we're
it.
trying to collect a little bit of what people's talents are, what their mission kind of is. I'd love their wallet address and email so we can stay in touch. And we're going to keep doing tests and tokens. And because J Crypto and Rick has shown up today, I can verify they're real. And if they can give me a wallet, I can send them some personal tokens so we can always stay in touch via the blockchain. And they're tests that we keep working on, and we keep iterating and changing and trying new tokens. And now we have some wild tech, and I need people to keep testing. And since you guys are here, you get to be my test dummies if you commit to playing with Driving Catalyst, which we'll just keep going with.
Are you okay with my address? My address is $taco.
I'm fine with tacos.
I'll give you $taco
okay with
as my
tits?
address. Huh?
Are you okay with tits?
Oh yeah, I got stripper coin, I got Husky, I got all the best meme coins. I got Beagle.
Good.
I'm going to hop over to another room. Thank you so much for your insights. I appreciate it. I'll drop you my address in the chat. $taco.
Make your rounds.
Send me
Thanks,
some
Rick, for all you're doing, and I appreciate you joining and telling us all the feedback.
You bet.
We'll
Thank
see you next
Chris.
time.
Thanks for your
Peter.
citizenship as well. Yes.
Thank you. All right. Take care.
Bye, Rick.
See ya.
Go ahead, Crypto. I'm looking forward to hearing more from you because again, I've seen you around, let's just say, and I like what you're doing. And you know, it's hard to be a guy like you. I'm just gonna point that out. So props to being you.
I appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, you know what? I've done Catalyst content, and I'll be happy to drop that in the chat later too on the wallet address and email. It's really interesting because, like, do you guys think that doing interviews with more, like any of you guys too, feel free. Like that's one way to drive Catalyst, I think, is just to have some of these guys. You know, I'll extend that to you, Chris and Peter. If you want to hop on the channel and just we can talk about maybe some of the issues that people are. I don't focus on the issues much, and maybe that's to my detriment for the broader understanding, because I think that the potential is so high with Catalyst. It's a flywheel. You have fees coming into it. It's an enormous opportunity, and we definitely want to make sure that opportunity is guided, but yeah, also known about and discussed. So I think that's how I can help drive Catalyst in my own little way.
No, that's perfect. And something with the YouTube content and such like that is it's hard because if one of your old videos gets a lot of likes and hits and everything, it's great, but it's old content. Like last week, Catalyst moves so fast that this week, like we have voting, but last week we were on to, you know, battling bots. And before that we were, you know, voting, and it moves so fast. So almost by the time some content comes out, like unless it's live in that week, like this town hall, it's live, people show up. If it's not live, it's hard because that content is like old by next week. And I see that a lot on YouTube videos. It's like, oh, I found a cool video, this is good to learn about, but that was from last week. So having constant updates on what you're doing in Catalyst would definitely accelerate people's involvement. That would definitely help.
It's great to have some collaborations like that for me, because it's tough to stay up to date with everything in Catalyst. And by doing, you're right, man, maybe that's like, I heard you briefly talking too about, you know, ATA voting. Maybe people just don't always know the timelines of it. You know, maybe that's just a huge issue in of itself, and like how to do it. I mean, and what the benefits are of it. And just by like being that kind of reminder, because I cover a lot of stuff. I plan to cover DeFi a lot in the next few months. And I think that Catalyst is one of those big pillars that people that get into Cardano, it's a huge opportunity for, from multiple perspectives. And just being aware of that has changed. I know it's changed my life. Like it's something I look forward to coming to these and hanging out, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people will benefit too from that.
Creates these create long form educational content that that require you to invest a bunch of time in to figure out what's going on inside Catalyst. Town halls are great. I love town halls. After town halls are great. I love after town halls. Swarm, love Swarm. Everything in Catalyst is long form content. Like we're recording this now. It's probably going to be about an hour long form content. We need to start like fractaling down the educational portions into stuff that can be dropped, maybe like short segment on in some of your, I don't even know how your channel's set up. I know I've seen it and I've watched some of your videos, but I don't know like how your sequence works or anything.
We have to digest this in a quick format, 30-second clips or a minute, 5-minute. Hey, what's the update? Jay Crypto, what do you got for us? And since you were there at all the meetings, you talked to everybody, you do have the update, so you're ready to go. But somebody who doesn't have that communication, isn't showing up all the time, they're not going to have the answer. So when you have the answer every time, quick 30 seconds, what's going on? Voting this week, get on the ball. This is how you do it. Click this link if you don't know how to do this, this, and this. Here's some walkthroughs. Easy. If people need the content, great. If they know how to do it, great. But if they don't, they have a whole walkthrough that you were able to provide. It's beautiful content. And you can update it if, you know.
Yeah, maybe because my channel, to your point, Peter, it's the Wild West. But yeah, maybe a segment like that. That's a great idea. It's just like a quick weekly Catalyst update to kind of do. That's I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take it and run with it, Chris.
You know, doing that across all of the cafe
content
space
too. Don't go ahead. What do we Pop-Tart today? Go ahead, Pop-Tart.
All right. No, doing that across all the people that are engaging from a media outlet. So the cafe, ATA Cafe, or the Twitter Spaces. You know, a quick, you know, Catalyst, you know, a 3 to 5 minute update would go a long way. You know, the way everybody's got things organized, the Twitter Spaces are a bit peculiar to tap into. But yeah, Jay Crypto, if you could do that, set an example, and the more people we can get consuming Catalyst in 5-minute increments, we're driving it down their throat.
Yeah. They take it a little easier, you know.
It's
We
funny
have to
because
give it to them in small portions.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm just pulling something up. I did a Twitter poll yesterday of who is coming to Catalyst, and it was funny the results, because I did who is coming to Catalyst Town Hall, and I got, you know, not too many votes. I got like 25 votes, or 25 votes. And I did people that are going to be there, 29% of the people that voted. People that are going to be square is just a funny one, 12%. And then the largest voted option was I would go, I don't know how, and that was 41%. And then the last poll was can't but want to, and that was 18%. So even on a small data example, the largest one is I would, but I don't know how. And I had a bunch of people engage and say, hey, how do I do it? And I sent them the link to the IOG channel and communicated that way. And it wasn't like, you know, the most engaged with tweet, but I also posted at like 12, you know, I was up wicked late last night because I was just, I do Twitter Spaces with West Coast guys, and I'm on the East Coast, and you know, they operate on a different schedule because they got their 9 to 5s and whatnot. So it's just funny though, right? It's like people would, they just don't know how, and you know,
It's excellent. I love
That's
it.
good data collection right there.
Yes.
And
Perfect data collection.
It's so true.
Can
It
you
took me a while to even find the Zooms.
Can you
for
screenshot that
Catalyst.
and put it in the notes?
yeah. Let me, yeah, exactly.
Or I guess I can look it up retrospectively, but you
I'll
can
just
add
pull
to
up my
it.
Good
Twitter.
data.
It's on you, bro.
So
Yeah.
Jay Crypto, what do you think about the V3 circles coming up, and how can we accelerate people's involvement in actually people who are qualified's involvement into the V3 circle? Because that election's coming up very fast. And again, if people don't even know how to get to these meetings, then we're going to have a problem getting people to come and vote.
Yeah. And then everybody who's active in the community gets to have opinion about what's going, how the voting, who's elected and what they're doing and whether they like them or not. And it just is messy. So we need more people to vote. So we can be like, guys, it needs to be easy to vote.
Yeah. You know, I think an interesting thing to ask is what's the retention on voting? Like once people do vote, do they continuously vote?
Okay.
Do you
Yeah, I
guys
mean,
have any data on that, or do you know? Because like if we can
yeah,
get
no,
if we can get,
Nobody knows.
Two
nobody
votes so
knows.
far.
If
I
we can
know
get
I
them
can
in the
get that
first one-
data, but I don't currently have it now.
because if we can get them in the first one and they continue to go, then that solves a huge problem, because then we know how to, market. But if we see that the data is inconsistent, then maybe it broadens the conversation a bit.
The data set is very small, and that's my issue with it. Is
Mhm.
our last vote had less than 20 people, and how many ATA holders we got? You know what I mean? That's a big problem. So we're definitely going to get more than 20 votes this time if I can help it. But we need to get people that are appropriate in the positions to vote for ASAP.
Gosh, that's a wild statistic.
Well, all you need are the wells to vote the way it's set up right now, not to dampen anybody's spirits, but
Yeah,
the 25 million ADA dictates who wins and who doesn't.
Well, not for the V3
Not for
circle. That's
not
one
for
person,
circle.
one vote.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed off.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is like the circle voting and proposal voting are completely different things, and
Oh,
and,
okay.
and
Yeah.
they're not exactly synced at the same time. So it's like the scheduling, like it'd be nice to see them like
Oh, so
this
you're
is
saying,
the voting for this, like January 20 is when we start voting on proposals tomorrow. That goes for 2 weeks. January 12th is when we vote on the next CCV3. And yeah.
this is really cool. So we're talking about Circle, right? Like now,
Mhm.
so with Circle, maybe you guys can educate me a little bit. Do we have nominated people? Do people go up and say, hey, I want to apply for Circle?
Mhm.
Like
From what I've seen, you have to nominate yourself first.
You can
and then
nominate
bring
anybody.
people to the vote. Nominate
Yeah.
anybody, but they have to at least like
you have to
I
be willing to
Yeah.
do
nominate
it, right?
myself. I know I
Right.
realized this issue last time because I showed up. I didn't really want to run, but if I did want to run, I didn't nominate myself. So
Right.
I wasn't in the running. You couldn't actually run without saying that, hey, I'm up for
Yeah.
this
You can
position.
nominate yourself or someone else can nominate you. At the deadline for nominations, we send out a confirmation email. And that email, then you have to respond to that email to be a candidate
Okay.
in the election.
Yeah, because that's an important instrument of Catalyst is the circle. I remember talking to Allison and she was explaining it, and it's something that in Twitter Spaces gets brought up a lot. Is like, how are these people getting elected? And there are some people that bring up some interesting points on it. I've always thought it was a great thing that was started, and I think it's going to evolve over time. And we need to look at the results of the circle to indicate if they're doing a good job or not necessarily speculate beforehand. So
Definitely. And the only way we can do that is by tracking it and keeping and holding people accountable. And that's
Yeah.
where resources like QA DAO and whatnot where come into play. And that's why yeah. So we need more of that as the community expands. Like QA DAO isn't going to be able to still be able to hold all these different circles accountable. So as we're trying to grow challenge teams 3 funds from now, and they're starting to spin off their own circles. Well, we have to have accountability infrastructure to track that money, what's going on with that money. And that's what people in the treasury team right now, and there's a treasury proposal in Fund 7 to start working on the kind of money mechanisms in the back end of our treasury system of the circle.
The treasury needs to
Yeah.
be transparent, auditable, and it needs to work in a decentralized fashion. It has to, or else this money doesn't
Right.
get
I mean,
poured into the community.
sorry guys to interrupt, but the treasury is built from Catalyst proposals, so they're being tracked by Catalyst. So there's no way the circle can do anything with them without Catalyst knowing. They're reporting back, and the circle has no decision power. It's different from Catalyst overall process because the circle came from Catalyst itself, and Catalyst was structured by IOG.
Definitely.
There are a lot of differences, and sometimes when people see when they hear about the circle, they, especially on Twitter, they don't know that there's no decision power behind this. They think that there's a circle of people deciding what's going on in Catalyst.
That's exactly right.
Definitely.
And they're just censoring. They're just not censoring, but they're like a censor array is the correct term that they proposed.
And I guess an important designation that I need to make is when it comes to these treasury mechanisms that I'm talking about, that is in response to the rapid funding mechanism proposals. So that are being coming into implementation, coming into like how do we track with the money that we pay to the circle members for being the sensor array? How do we track the money that goes to the admin team for their facilitative and secretarial assistance in that process? All of
that's
these
what
things.
we have Secret Deck. That's what we have QA DAO for. We're collaborating. Secret Dex is collaborating with QA DAO in contribution tracking. And anyone can start doing this as well and collaboratively fine-tune the process, which is currently just a YAML template on GitHub, which can be automated with enough skills and when there are enough people behind it. But the thing is that since there's no like financial incentive for people and it's not seen as something super important, it falls off the table, and no one that really can do it in a proper manner will do it.
So there's no financial incentive to vote for the circle.
No, this is not covered for by the circle budget. The circle budget is just to pay for the people's time attending, to discussing, to the documentation, and to the facilitation of the events and meetings. It's not a lot of budget. It's like 20 people, and I think the budget was like, I don't know, was a couple of $1,000. So I mean, we're not talking a huge budget here. This is just to cover basically the expenses because people cannot work or make money while they're working on the circle.
I have a weird thought, but what if the budget for the voting for the circle was actually more than the circle budget? Is that possible? Is that something that could be allocated?
You mean to incentivize voting for the circle with the budget, like with ADA?
Yeah, like if it was more
reach
to
out
vote
to your
for the
representative.
people. Yeah. Is that how to change things? Okay.
Yeah, well, that's if we're going to use the mechanism, we have to start thinking in those terms. Yes, that is great. That is a great idea. The only way they would ever start thinking, they already have a rapid funding mechanism, but that has some money in it for next round, I think. And I'm not 100% sure on all these proposals. But in order for them to get that the next round, they have to rewrite a proposal. It's not like every round they have to be preparing for their funding for the next round too. So that's the iterative nature of this process, is that you can help input to the sensor array of how they're updating themselves over time. Yeah.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Yeah,
So
I'll
I
have
will
to
say
reach
that
out.
the Treasury is working very closely with QA DAO to make that integration and yeah, that's definitely
Yes.
something awesome. Dan, do you work closely with Steven?
Yeah, very closely. We go back March last year, which is quite a while in crypto. We both joined NFT DAO at that time, end of March, around April, and left it in end of May, I think. Steven went on to create create a QA DAO afterwards, and because we both felt that many things could have gone differently and could have be done differently, so we decided to do it differently. Secret Dex was born on my end and QA DAO on Steven's end. And since then, we've been collaborating very, very closely in regards to documentation, governance, auditability, contribution tracking, community building, and all these, soft technical stuff.
That's great to hear, and great to hear that there's also more collaboration going on behind this level of collaboration on top of that level of collaboration. So very exciting to see that type of thing. So it's a small world. It really is.
Yeah, really is.
I know. And it was a lot of pain and a bit of a downtime where people were like, I wouldn't say depressed, but there was a lot of negative energy definitely in the community. And for me, it's super important that I know and I can see there are caring and mindful individuals right at the center or intersections of the community, of the active community. And this makes me feel that we are on a good way of becoming anti-fragile, I'd say.
Dan,
and
is there
help
any
me
way I can
overcome
vote
the
for you
last couple of days.
for one of these positions?
Yeah.
Were you
I don't know.
I
I didn't.
for crypto V3?
I actually thought about it, but in order to do this right, I would need to spend a lot of time with it. And I tried to see if I can combine it with anything else to have some kind of synergy that I can excuse myself. Okay, it's okay to spend even more time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it. If there's really this low into like there's no one nominating themselves, and if in the next day or two it will stay the same, I would probably go for a nomination because just I don't know, general ADA voter maybe.
We need anti-fragile people to hold down the fort.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm also a big fan. Recently got into restorative practices and restorative environments, and I'm trying to bring this into Catalyst and combine it also with tarot cards. So yeah, make a kind of tarot game in a restorative environment and see where it goes.
Tell me more about a restorative environment. I don't quite understand that.
I didn't understood it as well until probably 4 weeks ago, when I heard Kathleen McGooey talk about it in one of the after town halls, was it, I think? And it just resonated so well with me. And since then, I've been reading up on it. Basically, it's to look at conflict not in the way of something that needs to be resolved, but actually to look at conflict in a way that can transform or transcend a relationship or an event into a higher state. Because there's always an opportunity there for growth, and to visualize this growth, to the origins of restorative environments and teaching goes back to restorative justice that was created as an alternative for the criminal justice system, to bring people together that have been harmed in a way where they can be seen as equal and put themselves in each other's shoes, and to not fall back into this victim and what's the other term? Victim and attacker role.
Okay.
But to really see each other, that goes back to the notion that we are all one consciousness, and if you really try to reach out to people and understand each other, then there's no real issue there, no.
Mhm.
And all issues can be seen as a way to grow or strengthen your inner self.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah, it reminds me of a conversation between Jordan Peterson and, oh man, what it was called,
Oh,
the
not Jordan
psychedelic
Peterson.
conversation. Anyway, they
Wow.
talk about Bibliosophia and Bibliosophia and Biblionikeia or something like that. Maybe it's not Biblio. Sophia Nikeia and Sophia. Anyway, it's conversation in the pursuit of like love or connection versus the pursuit of victory. Philia
Mhm.
Sophia and Philia Nikeia. That's what it is. Phileo Sophia
Okay.
and Phileo Nikeia. So it's conversation in the pursuit of love is how you build and you destroy and have much. It's like different temperatures of conversation, and you can tell
Mhm.
when you're in a conversation whether you're fighting for the pursuit of victory or the pursuit of connection. Yeah.
Crypto, I see your hand
Yeah.
up. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, actually, I want to throw this by you guys, see what you think. I don't know. I mean, Catalyst Circle is something very interesting to me. I actually think it'd be kind of cool to be a part of one day. One thing about it, though, that I could see being an issue, and I actually have a potential solution, but I want to hear what you guys think to see if you think it's a potential solution, is when we talk about voting, even if we incentivize people to vote, that still invites corruption because you can just pay off people to vote. And even if you don't incentivize people to vote, it still invites corruption. So what I was thinking is maybe for the Catalyst Circle, we can operate in the similar way that the proposals work, because the proposals are very merit-based when we review them, since we have a criteria that we have to prove out in Word format that the proposals meeting the criteria, of impact, feasibility, auditability, things of that nature in the last one. So I think something that might be more sustainable for the circle, because it's more of just a popularity kind of deal, is maybe an achievement based system where you can either be recognized by some entity or some reviewers, if you will, some CAs for the Catalyst Circle of people that are doing something in the community, or you can present what you've done and prove it. Like, for example, a YouTuber who does educational content, hey, either can be recognized by this, the maybe some entity that could be created, and or you could present, hey, I'm a YouTuber, this is my content, here, you can go check it out. And then there's a criteria for Catalyst Circle members that maybe have enough influence and are doing enough, but it can be proven. You know what I mean? So I don't know what you guys think, but
No,
I
absolutely.
like that.
It's something we're working on.
it's anti-fragile,
Exactly.
right? It's more anti-fragile than what we got.
It's
I like it.
proof of work. Yeah. No.
It also formalizes the kind of feature or broken feature how the voting process works now, because now, as you said, it's hard to find the Catalyst town hall, so it's even harder to find the Catalyst governance fest and then get in the room and vote. And this is kind of
I mean,
and
I just
only
think,
you can get only a vote if the people really know you. So what you said is kind of a formalization of this process that now is not really scalable, and could be made scalable like this.
Because it's achievement based, merit based. You can either present your achievements or you can be recognized internally in the community and given the option to commit. When we deal with people instead of proposals, I just think that dynamic is different, and maybe you can do the voting for the proposals, but with the reputations of people, it gets dicey. It gets into the old systems that we currently have here today.
Yes.
So by shifting that, we may maybe have a solution.
No, I'm gonna encourage you, J Crypto, to stay on that ball. This
Yeah,
exact
keep
same
talking it.
What do I
solutions
do
that we're
next?
working
I'm
on.
just an idea guy.
You
Yeah,
need to go and
make a
dig
video
into
about it.
some of the scratch notes that we've been playing with on the boards, and you can add your input. It would be very nice at the base levels here, because you're already thinking about the same problem that we've attempted, and now we need to run tests. And
We
like
need to
that's
run tests.
what I'm bringing everybody around for, trying to get your wallet addresses, your email, and you to show up. If I can do that, then we can have productive votes and put money
We
in
have to
places
have
that
proof of concept, and it has
Yeah.
to be live in the community. So driving catalyst needs some wheels or tokens.
It's gonna not probably solve all the corruptible paths, because somebody
No.
could go really under the radar and just pretend to be a completely different person for 2 years and then sneak in. But at least it solves the shorter term corruption issues.
Like Quasar.
Multiple identities, the
Well, I
fractal
can
and
only
quasar.
give out one token for every time J Crypto or Quasar or somebody shows up. So every
Mhm.
time you guys collect one
Live,
of
in
these tokens that you were
person.
live right here, right now, you can't fake that. You can go give it away and this and that, but it's not going to be real anymore. You've pretty much fudged it. So if the token moves, we'll know. But like stuff like that, if I give you a token for every proposal you probably either proposed or validated or gave
Reviewed.
credit for, I can give you merits for those things. And then I can give you an identity token based off your stake key saying that, hey, this person's real. And guess what? When you show up and talk to us and we see you all the time, we know what wallet we've been giving tokens to you. We can prove that you're still active and doing work. And if you've collected the past merit tokens and have an ID token and have a voting tokens, then you are willing and able and already proven to participate in this community. So building
Using
that
the
up,
tools of the community.
right?
The other thing
So if
too,
everybody
Chris,
has tokens.
yeah, the other thing too, Chris, is with the circle, it's interesting what you say, because there's two kinds of things, right? There's Project Catalyst people that know what's going on that are participating, but then there's also many different forms of being boots on the ground. So I look at myself as kind of trying to balance those two worlds of being Project Catalyst oriented, but also boots on the ground with the communities and people. And that's what Twitter Spaces are for. YouTube is for all these different formats. And I just think that the token system is a great way to keep track of it's a great way to keep track of that Project Catalyst element to it.
For sure.
It's
Perhaps
exciting stuff.
it is exciting, dude. Yeah, because these are multiple facets of tooling coming together, and there's people thinking about community. How do we think about assessing, like refining ideas and getting really good proposals into the right challenges in Project Catalyst, and then how do we actually interface with all of those builders and creators and people who have ideas in the ecosystem that are participating in Project Catalyst, that are participating in whatever incubator or ID incubator, that are at all of the events, or on how can we like be able to leverage our participation. And this is, I think,
The other thing too is you could do like there was like an anime I used to watch called Hunter x Hunter. I apologize for the dog, but you could assign like achievement ranks for people that have really done something cool for the community with stars, like a triple star member or a double star member. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut off here because I'll still listen, but my dog is freaking out right now. I gotta get it under control.
You're absolutely right. These are proof of merit, proof of presence. I don't want to go too long, so our content stays pretty concise. But Jeremy or Dan, if you have any final thoughts or would like to throw some stuff into the drive board,
Yep.
Quasar or Pop Tart or everybody, 3D Quasar today.
Yep. Butterfly Tyrant.
But Crypto,
Oh.
we can follow up. Just give us your info. You can
Yeah,
find
I'll-
me in the Twitter Spaces as well. I'm happy to connect.
Oh, cool.
And I
Yeah.
know you've been
Yeah.
working on a lot of the side that I have not been on. So putting together would
That'd be great.
awesome.
That'd be very beneficial, right? I'll drop my stuff in the chat you wanted me to do.
Yeah, there's a
Chris?
form in the chat that you can fill out and
Okay.
to how we're trying to collect information, and then we'll be able to use that, like our handles and whatnot.
Yeah, this isn't
communicate on other
QA DAO
platforms.
quality yet,
No.
but we're obviously
And
going
it's
to
up
integrate
to
all of
iterate
that.
as well,
Right.
obviously.
Is the form at the top
Yep.
of the chat?
Top
Okay.
of the doc. Here, I will put the forms in the document, the notes document that I sent out with the welcome. Here we go. Anyway,
So
Dan,
the last minute here, I'll just take a quick minute to prop up the N2O pool where we minted our first block this past week. Super exciting. It only does have 4,200 ADA in it. So it's really exciting that it took off like that. So if anybody in the community has extra wallets or extra giant bags of ADA laying around, N2O pool gave over 2,000% ROS last one. And it'd be great to have more members to keep accelerating the community. So we're going to try to use the N2O, which is nitrous pool, to accelerate the growth of Catalyst, because N2O is a catalyst for acceleration. So my last little plug for the night. And any final words from anybody? Would love to hear it.
Thank you for hosting this, and I will check out your pool and definitely stay in touch. Talk about how we can build the Cardano community further and up into the hyperspace. Thank you, Chris, and thank you to you, and thank you, Jay Crypto. Good seeing you.
Yeah, you too, man. I like to hear your thoughts.
Thanks
Yeah,
for.
if I have to vote for you, I'd be happy to put in a vote because I'm looking for people associated, definitely within line with the QA DAO. That's definitely something very passionate to me because they're doing the right moves. Nice, Quasar. Nice.
I will
Beautiful.
meditate on it and let you know if I will put myself up for nominations.
It's a 6-month gig, guys. So that one's definitely
longer.
going to be solving some big problems.
Yep.
Now, is there a lot of candidates for the next?
No, you have to get people in there. The right people need to get.
Well, we need more people on the board yet. There's only 3 on the board right now. We need to be sharing that nomination form link around the community.
Yeah, I put it on my Twitter, but it doesn't mean the right people are going to see it. We really have to talk to the right people.
We have to,
and they have to be prepared for 6 months of solving problems, which aren't going to be easy. They're really not going to be easy.
What's the ideal kind of candidates?
Catalyst.
Yeah.
No
so
Catalyst,
I want for this question,
no
I want to
Cardano.
reference the town hall slides, and there are documents linked in this week's town hall slides for all of the descriptions and what are being asked of candidates going into CCV3.
Okay.
So in the slides, there are links to the nomination form, and as well as I'm forgetting the name of the document right now. I can't anyway, but like
It's in
all of
it's in
the
the chat.
qualification stuff. Perfect.
Hey Dan, we should apply for a general ADA voter together.
As a tandem, that's a good idea.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Good. Yeah,
I like
big
that.
team.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the treasurer is something they also had attendance, so should be good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, the
love
treasury
to hear
team
it,
does
guys.
have 3. So it would be
Yep.
nice to have little trifectas or groups of 5, a nice little hub.
You want to join us, Chris?
I'm already leading challenge and treasury, so I don't want any like conflicts of interest, but I'm totally with you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Yep. Full disclosure, I'm a secretary for the CC admin as well.
Okay.
Yep. I make town hall slides during the week for the circle. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here and driving Catalyst with us. It's been
You
awesome.
see, the circle is too intransparent, too obscure. You need to be more present. You need to be more.
Yeah, I didn't even know some of the stuff you were talking about.
Yeah.
Circle must become round. Right now we have little points, little apexes, which is not enough. We need more robust circles.
Yeah.
More of a circle.
Yeah,
yes, maybe a sphere of influence.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All of the like content creators on YouTube ask like, who knows what's going on in Catalyst? Well, from my position, nobody knows what's going on in Catalyst. So
everyone together.
I'm offended.
Oh yeah, Quasar probably
is right front and center.
Quasar is right in center, yes.
I don't know if Quasar can really still grasp all of Catalyst. I don't know. If anybody is doing it though, Quasar's right at the front.
Yeah, he's in my top 3, 2. Anyway,
right, we'll catch you guys next week.
Peace out.
Next week will be V3 iteration, and make sure you got people voting for V3 circle.
Yep. See you in After Town Hall next week. Peace out.
See you guys.
All the power.
Take care.
Bye.